Hi, thank you so much for speaking with me. My name is Monica. I'm with Temple of Geek. And one of the things that I love about the series, it feels like there's really no small parts. Your character entered the show as a bit of a surprise in the modern timeline. You play the daughter that Maximo must make amends with, and he seems to be at odds with a lot of people throughout the series. So, can you tell me a little bit about what it was like working with Eugenio to bring this father-daughter story to life and to make it unique from the other relationships he Maximo has on the series?
Thank you so much for having me, Monica. Um, yeah, truly, I think the cast is fantastic in this show. I think they truly, truly blew it out of the park. Um, I think our relationship is a very complex but interesting one because you get to see a different side of Maximo and the side of Maximo that not only wants to get a redemption story from his wrongdoings in the past, but he truly wants to rebuild a relationship with his daughter in the present. And that's so special because I think it changed the stakes of the present day timeline where it was no longer just reminiscing on the past, but also actively trying to get something now. And then that developed into this whole different thing, and more characters come in the season. I think the present day timeline in this season is my favorite so far. So yeah, it was truly wonderful. And working with Eugenio is a dream come true. He is the most accessible, kind guy. And we rehearsed so much before we filmed. So getting to see kind of the inner workings of his process before he gets to set was a huge privilege. And I learned a lot from him. So yeah, I mean, I'm just so happy that this character came to me and that they gave me the chance to develop it into what it is.
And when you think about the way that your character developed over these last few seasons, what really stood out to you about your character?
It's funny. I've been talking to my family who are now watching the show, and I've been working, I've been an actor for a little over 15 years, done many, many characters, and this is the first time that my family's like, were you acting? Because that's you. And I'm like, I know. This is it. My boyfriend agrees too. It's the characters that's the closest to me as a person. So I think that was part of what's um been super fun about this, that I didn't really build a character. I just kind of showed up and said the things and played around with in these dynamics. My relationship with Maximo is very similar to my relationship with some of my family members, and also in my relationship with Cristo. Sometimes I am that partner. So so yeah, it was just fun to kind of bring myself into these situations and see where they took me. So yeah, I think that's my favorite part about Paloma, that it was just very easy.
And I think that's what makes a show so great, right? Is how easily relatable all of these characters are and how easily it is for you to see yourself on screen. Now, you mentioned working with Cristo. You've also worked with him on a film. What was it
Mhm.
like with doing television with Cristo as opposed to like working on a film with him?
That's a great question. I hadn't thought of that. I will say Acapulco is a little more fast-paced in the sense that the format for filming was so that the 80s timeline was filmed first always. And they took up a few good months out of the year to do that. And then maybe the last 2 to 3 weeks of filming, we would do all of the present day timeline back to back. And sometimes we were doing two episodes in one day. So the rhythm was a lot quicker, and we didn't get as much time to sit and interact and play around with our characters. Also, Cristo he is one of the hardest working hustlers I know. His agenda is packed back to back all the time. He's in events. You'll see him at the White House, and you'll see him in London, and he's everywhere. So he was only able to come for the days that he was filming. That was my experience in both seasons of Acapulco that I shared with him. But then in the movie, I got to be in the same place with him for almost 2 to 3 months. Um, and just really get to know him and really get to understand his comedy and who he is as a person. And he truly is the kindest, most giving, um, supportive coworker. So yeah, it was fun to have that movie kind of sandwiched in between the two seasons because it also helped our dynamic from the first one where we were just kind of jumping on set and doing the thing to the last one where I'm like, I know this guy. I know how to push his buttons and make fun comedy with him. So yeah, it was great. I adore Cristo.
Awesome. And my last question for you is just really quick as the series wraps up and you look back on your time there, what was the most significant lesson you've learned about yourself as an artist or as an individual while there at Acapulco?
You know what? I'm gonna twist it a little bit. I don't know that it is necessarily about myself, but it does translate into my life for sure. And that's that I met some of my closest friends in the cast. It truly is a family. And even the 80s cast that I didn't get to share screen time with are some of my closest friends right now. I was just talking about this in the last interview that I'm going to Disneyland with Fer Garza and Carolina Moreno next week. And I've gone to New York with Cami and Caro and Ray and we hung out all the time whenever they're in Mexico City. So just being able getting those friendships and being able to now have them in my adult life in the real world is the biggest gift. So I think that's the biggest thing that I took out of Acapulco, to be honest.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Monica.